Welcome to the Damn Good Dawgcast. It is Friday. You already know what it is. But before I start, I do want to make basically a public service announcement. Couple things. First, DMX, RIP. I hate to hear that, staple of my childhood. It just sucks, right? And second off, Philip Adams. This hit me personally. Just looking at the scope of things and what has been going on recently, it really hit home for me, hearing that his parents thought it could be triggered to CTE, which is another form of mental illness. So it hit me personally because I felt like I needed to advocate this. This is a Georgia Bulldogs podcast. I get that. But to me, it hits me personally. And what I want to say, I don't like hearing these horrible acts. But for me, I felt like I need to advocate this. It's okay to go get help. It is. Some people feel like that, their pride gets in the way. People will judge them, or whatever the case. I don't believe that's the case, at least in your thoughts. I hope that it's not the case. I really hope that if anyone listening is going through that, PTSD, CTE, whatever the case may be, it's okay to get help. It really is. And if you wonder why I'm talking about this, it's because I have PTSD myself. So it kind of choked me up hearing about that. Not just because it was close, about an hour or so, but yeah, it's just, you hear these mental illnesses and it just triggered me. So I hate to hear that. And, I just felt like I had to advocate that. So it just, I don't know, it just made me feel like I needed to come on and say something about it. If anyone's listening or watching and you have feelings of uselessness, or, you're in a funk, depressed, there's resources out there. Okay. And if there's not, right here is a resource. I will never turn down anybody if they reach out to me and have a question or want to vent about something that's going on in their head. I will never turn that down, ever. So if you're listening, or, and you have those problems or have those feelings, or somebody that does, at least you have the Damn Good Dawgcast. Reach out to me personally. Literally, just send an email to damngooddawgcast@gmail.com. Reach out. I will talk to you. I understand how important support is for this. When it comes to that, some people feel like there's nobody there. It's just them against the world. And coming from a personal standpoint on that, I understand. So that's why I'm reaching out to anyone that or personally is going through that. Reach out to me. I will be there. I will listen, whatever the case may be. Just leaving that there. Anyways, on to what people come here for, and that is the Georgia Bulldogs, right? Everybody's coming here for the Georgia Bulldogs. And while we wait for our guest of the day to pop in, but while we wait, let's just say this. Scrimmage tomorrow It's going to be interesting, and we're 8 days away from G-Day. 8 days away. Some sort of football on TV, well, streaming, but nonetheless able to watch football. It's going to be a beautiful thing. It's just going to be a beautiful thing. So bear with me real fast. I am going to put myself on a brief hold real fast. Actually, I'm not going to do that. Anyways, while we wait, I want to talk about the spring practices, right? I want to. Who thinks, well, I think, let's just say this, I think that we're going to see a huge battle along the offensive line. I just think that we're going to see that. And I just think that we're going to have a huge battle across the offensive line. So while we're doing that, all right, so it looks like, sorry, I was talking to the guest, and now I think he is getting on. So while we wait, let's just pop for him on. All right, let's see here. Let's see. Let me get this figured out here. Sorry, guys. All right. All right, let me see what's going on. Sorry, I have some technical difficulties right now. All right, give me a sec. All right, the man of the hour. I'm going to formally introduce him. The father of Sedrick Van Pran Granger. I'm hoping that he's going to be our center starting this season. We'll see. But Sedrick, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
How are you doing?
I'm fine. Thank you. Thank you for having me on. Appreciate it.
Hey, not a problem. Thanks for stopping by. So before you got on, I was talking about, the scrimmage is coming up tomorrow, and then G-Day in 8 days. I'm excited for that. I know I'm personally not going to be able to go just because of limited capacity and whatnot. I didn't have access to the tickets or nothing like that. But I will be watching on SEC Network Plus. Are you gonna be there, or are you?
I'm not going to make the scrimmage, but yes, I will be there for G-Day.
Oh, okay, cool. I know that typically G-Day is always fun to kind of experience, at least from what I'm hearing. I'm curious to see how the COVID situation. I know we didn't have one last year, but I'm curious to see how how it's going to play out. How COVID is going to, I guess, make its impact here. I genuinely don't know how it's going to play out.
To be honest with you, they still going to be like limited capacity, for as I know.
Mm-hmm.
But I think probably after that, it's probably going to be getting pretty back close to pretty normal.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not going to be political here, but I know, if I'm not mistaken, in the news, Georgia recently pushed back those restrictions, which, in my opinion, tells me that, I think it's almost, I ain't going to say 100% bet, but I do think that there's a very good chance that we see a full Sanford Stadium this season.
I think they were saying that the SEC as a whole, they plan on having full capacity stadiums.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, I can't wait for that. I think, watching it last year, I think you really take it for granted right? The ability to go to a stadium on any given Saturday. Um, but at least that's just how I feel. Um, so I'll read a comment real fast. Mr. Fry Daddy said, "What's good, my guy? It is Friday. It is 4:41, and I am feeling good about the weekend. Just saying."
Same here.
But no, basically just keep talking about the impact of COVID and things like that. Obviously, last year, we really didn't realize that it kind of just you took it for granted, right? We took it for granted because then you watch, you look at TV, right? We have football, which I was thankful for,
Yeah.
but it's just weird not seeing that normal college environment, right?
Yeah.
And as a parent, now, were you able to go to the games and watch them?
Yeah. I made maybe 2 or 3 games. They let the parents travel. It was limited capacity. You know. So I went to the Alabama game, Auburn game, and a couple other games I can't recall. But yes, I made some. I'm definitely looking forward to this year, though.
I figured it would be. I know, just looking at, like I said, last year, obviously, I think it was 20 to 25%. I think it was the
Like
SEC
25%.
limit there. Yeah. So, I think if you go 100%, kind of have them memories of, 2019, right? Where, you see a full packed stadium against Notre Dame and things like that, right? Like,
Right.
obviously, not every home game is going to be that way, but, you still get that environment, right? I think Sanford Stadium is one of the best environments in college football.
Most
Um,
definitely.
so, and obviously, I kind of want to kind of touch on this. I know you said you went to the Alabama game and things like that. If people, for people that aren't aware, obviously, you are the father of Sedrick Van Pran Granger, and y'all are from Louisiana, in
Yes.
roughly in the New Orleans region. So, you know, kind of looking back on this, right? Like, I think just from a fan's perspective here, just looking into it, throughout the recruiting process, right?
Hmm.
Um, Obviously, Sedrick was a top 100 player. Now, I'll look at the 24/7 composite. So I was just going off those rankings. Obviously, top 100 player, number one center, if I'm not mistaken, in
Yes.
the country. So, typically, he's pretty coveted by almost every school.
Right.
Um, you know, in your opinion, I know I feel like you would probably be more supportive of his decision. But what kind of led him to Georgia? Was it because I know proximity could be a little bit tricky, uh, but nonetheless, though, Georgia's still not the farthest away. So
Right.
what led that decision to be Georgia?
A couple of different reasons. First of all, Georgia was like the first uh, big program that really came after him,
Hmm.
and they invited him to a camp, and we drove out to the camp, and he did a private workout afterwards, and he earned the offer. So then the wheels got to turning. At the time, they had Coach Sam Pittman, you know, and Sam Pittman was, thought of as one of the best offensive line coaches in the country.
Hmm.
Then we got to learning about the education. Uh, Top, I think it was they were 17 at the time, public universities in the country. Lastly, family and friends. Like Metro Atlanta has always been a second home to us. Matter of fact, we evacuated there for Hurricane Katrina,
Hmm.
and just all of those factors, just felt like he can get. It was the closest thing to him going to LSU.
Hmm.
And he really, like, I have a twin brother. He lives out in Stone Mountain. And you can't get any closer than that. He really has people there. That's if I'm not there, has his back. He's getting a good education, really good program. Metro Atlanta has a lot to offer. So to me, it's a win-win situation all the way around.
Yeah, no, I think I can agree with you there. I know, you know, I feel like the perspective from a fan standpoint to a recruit, a lot of it, you kind of have these speculations of, they just want to go to a school that they can play right away, or things like that. Obviously, schools that'll send them to the NFL, things like that. But
Right.
it's good to kind of hear that education was a big part in that as well. It's something like obviously the family ties can come in as well. And I'm an advocate for getting an education. Like I understand the importance of it, and we've talked before, and educate they can't you can't get your education taken away from you.
And to be honest with you, I tell my son, and me and other people have this conversation a lot. If you look at the NFL, what they're doing these days, like when I was growing up, it's called the NFL not for long, you know,
Hmm.
meaning, guys don't last long, and they're doing everything that they can to, if you get drafted, draft you as low as possible, you know, and, the career span isn't as long. So to me, you would be smart to try have a backup plan, you
Hmm.
know, you know what I'm saying? Because
Oh yeah.
it's just designed different. It's more of a business than anything, in the NFL,
So I think with when you were talking about not for long back in the old days, I think you have to look at how advanced we've become, within the NCAA and within medicine, right? Like you take,
Yeah.
what seems to be a common occurrence now with ACLs and things like that, right?
Right.
In the past, that was that was a possible career ender.
Right.
Now you're looking at half a year or so, and then you have that possibility of being 100% possibly.
Right.
Obviously Georgia fans are well aware with the Pickens injury, things like that. So obviously you look at it now, but a lot of people feel like there's more longevity now in the NFL. But at the end of the day, it is a business, and just as soon as you get drafted or you get into the NFL, they can let you go.
Yeah.
So I think ultimately you look at the education as you know you're not going to be in the NFL forever. You're not going to pull this Tom Brady type thing and be in there 20 plus years. It's just which is incredible.
Yeah.
But yeah, you look at that right there, and obviously that's why I think the education is important there. So it's good to hear that as a parent, you kind of try to instill those the discipline to look into everything rather than immediate playing time or just the easiest path to the NFL kind of thing.
Yeah. And to be honest with you, outside of family ties, that was probably one of my biggest reasons wanting him to go there, because he could have went other places that, to be honest with you, probably had a better program at the time.
Hmm.
But when you factor in everything, education, playing time, big time program, location, it just felt like, Georgia was the best fit for him.
Yeah, makes. I mean, Georgia's got a great business program. I know for sure. But nonetheless, we'll kind of move on though, because like I said, you have some. You stay in New Orleans or around that area.
Right.
Obviously, Warren Easton, if I'm not mistaken, is where you're high
Yes,
school.
sir. Yes,
And
sir.
so obviously coming out of I think it was a 2020 class, 2019 class. Sorry. Um,
2020.
yep, 2020. There it
Yep.
is. I knew I was mistaking it, but nonetheless, though, obviously coming out of the 2020 class, Georgia took a huge national approach to the recruiting process. Um, and for me, at the time, looking at your recruitment or his recruitment, I should say, I felt a lot of pressure. you know, Obviously I'm not experiencing this personally, but looking into reading in and things like that, I was under the impression that Alabama had a really good shot from what I was reading and things like that. Now I knew that was in his top five, but one of the things that was surprising for me, really surprising, was the fact that LSU wasn't there. Um, Generally, the top players in Louisiana, it's basically locked down. Um,
Right.
so it was weird to see that it wasn't even a top five school. Um, Now at the same time though, I know we had talked about it. Certain things happened and transpired that kind of just pushed it away. Now was it? I guess for everybody else, how what caused that? I guess you could say the home state push to kind of be pushed away to the side.
Well, um, they really didn't. They really didn't recruit him as well as they should have, because of they were under the impression, this is what is said, that Louisiana don't produce top tier offensive linemen.
Mm-hmm.
So he pretty much had to prove himself to them. Now, Alabama, Auburn, all these other programs, they saw him and it was like, yeah, this is a top tier kid. But for LSU, it was, I quite don't know. It really didn't take off until Nick Saban, until Alabama got in the picture. And
Mm-hmm.
it's probably really was more so just didn't really want him to go to Alabama because they've lost good amount of players to Alabama.
Oh yeah.
And
At
yeah,
the I know at the time Alabama was going in, and it was weird to see it, but Alabama was going into Louisiana around 2018, 2019, before a couple years before, and plucking the top talent. So it kind of trickled into the 2020.
right,
Um, so obviously, hearing what you just said, I know looking into like I said, LSU and everything like that. Now, I don't want to put anything on a school or anything like that, but because we were talking about LSU, I do want to kind of bring something up that's current.
okay,
I think the elephant in the room of really the scope of NCAA right now, when you look into football, is the allegations going on down in Baton Rouge.
right,
Um, now, I'm not going to speak specifically on that, but uh, if you're going through the recruitment process, and say for instance, hypothetically, it happened, during Sedrick's recruitment, how does that, I guess, how does that translate to your process and your approach when looking at these schools and the recruitment process?
well, definitely, if it was me, I wouldn't want my child to go somewhere where they have a lot of negativity going on around the program, because it just kind of breeds, instability. Like you don't know what's going to be the outcome
Yeah,
and who's going to be around, coaches and whatnot. Like we just don't know. You know what I mean? And to be totally honest with you, as a father, as a parent in general, you want to hear. I'm not, I don't want to sound selfish, but you don't really want negative things associated with the school that your child is attending. You
yeah,
know what I mean? Rape allegations, whatever it may be. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, man, like, kind of don't want to hear that.
yeah. And I've always been, I don't know, I have a hard feeling against the NCAA, and I just feel like that. I feel like they're incompetent when it comes to handling kind of allegations and different things like that. If we really want to kind of open it up throughout the scope of the NCAA, look no further than the basketball wiretapping, right, with the recruits.
Yeah,
It was what really set it for me was seeing Will Wade and seeing um, Self at Kansas, right? Seeing those guys still coaching
yeah,
when there was actual hard evidence of them, basically trying to pay recruits. To me, that solidified in my opinion, the incompetence of the NCAA to kind of do their job. So, obviously, it's going to be something that you have to keep looking at as it goes on. But it's just like one thing after another right now with LSU. But I feel like LSU is almost one of those programs in football in relation to football. It's almost too big to fail unless you pull like program suicide like Tennessee.
yeah,
Um, so it's interesting to see recruits still going to LSU and things like that. Now I'm not knocking LSU, um, but it's just wild to know that. Now at the same time, you look at Tennessee, right? We'll kind of translate over there.
yeah,
You find out the allegations. You see, I think we're still waiting on sanctions, but things are very sloppy in Knoxville right now.
yeah,
So
definitely.
it can easily change your program from you know a powerhouse contender. Obviously, LSU won their 2019 championship. You know, and then you look at kind of Tennessee where they're just literally struggling all around, and it's just so weird. Like it's just so fast. Things happen that fast. It's crazy.
Can I say one other thing about LSU?
Yeah, go ahead.
Um, the one thing I will say is funny. I was just speaking with another parent the other day about this, and I will say, I don't know if they're guilty or whatever, but I will say that I feel like it's apparent that they upset somebody because of anything that's possibly could have come up is coming up. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So I don't know what the narrative is over there, but it's something going on. And like I said, honestly, yeah, I am kind of glad my son is not associated with that. You know?
Oh yeah, no, I mean I can agree with you. I think where there's smoke, there's fire, and right now there's a lot of smoke down in the bayou.
Yeah, yeah. It's rough right now.
Let's see what happened here. Looks like we may have had a little bit of. Oh, there we go.
Got me.
Connection fixed itself. No, so I think looking at it this way, kind of speaking more about your son real fast.
Yeah.
I watched this commitment video, and what I really saw when I took away, or what I took away when I saw it, was the team mentality. Right. I think what I liked the most about it was not that he committed to Georgia, but he basically included his teammates. Right. Committed
Right.
in front of them. And that to me kind of translates to him having the team mentality, right? It's the way at least I take it. Now, from your standpoint, throughout his upcoming and things like that, has that just something that's kind of been his main focus is to just do what's best for the team, or like what's been his drive? I guess you could say like.
He's always been like that. And to be honest with you, at times, it kind of really didn't seem like it was the best thing for him personally.
Mm-hmm.
But, he's such a team person, that, he put his personal feelings, whatever's going on with him, and did what, was best for the team. It's just the kind of person he is, He's
Oh yeah.
just like that.
Yeah, I think agree. So during his commitment, I know he took his 5 visits. I
Yes.
want to say he stayed in the southeast. I know he went to Georgia, Alabama, A&M.
Yep.
I'm slipping on the other two. I'm
We
trying to
did a
remember the other.
spring game for Oklahoma. That was an
Okay,
official.
Oklahoma, and then yeah.
And well, what was the last one?
I'm not being able to look at it's making it difficult. But
Uh,
so I guess with this case right here, because I know obviously he took the 5 official visits, and
mhm.
I'm sure there were several unofficial visits as well.
Right.
You know, so I guess like from my standpoint, we have this vision of what an official visit looks like. You see this red carpet rolled out, things like that. Now, I guess you have each school has their own different strengths and weaknesses. But when it came to Georgia, I guess you don't have to be too specific here. But what stood out the most on your official to Georgia?
Georgia just, they were the program that really made him and myself, really feel at home.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, okay, we go visit these other schools, and they were great visits, can't lie. But when we did the official at Georgia, it's like it was called almost coming home, like because we had a really good relationship with everybody there. And then, like I said, personally, outside of the university, we have a lot of family and friends there. So
Mm-hmm.
it's really it felt the most natural, because it's really was like a second home.
Oh yeah. You always hear Athens as being that, or at least the University of Georgia having that home feel and everybody's a family. So, it's good to keep hearing that. I think that's something that Kirby's preached and pushed for since he's been here. And,
Yes.
and I think that's why we start to see, the best of the best, come to Georgia.
Yeah.
So what I want to do now, before we end this, I'm going to talk to you. I'm going to ask a couple questions in this segment. It's called Fifth Quarter. So I'm
Okay.
going to ask you a couple questions, and we'll see what happens here, and I want to see how well you do it. So,
Okay.
are you ready for this?
Yes, sir.
All right. So obviously you have some Louisiana ties.
Yes.
Let's be a completely unbiased with these questions.
Okay.
Which moment, whether it was watching it on TV or actually being there, was more memorable to you? Was it the LSU earthquake game back in the 80s, or was it 2019 against Notre Dame at Sanford Stadium?
So I don't remember the LSU game. I don't know if I didn't watch the game or whatnot, but I don't recall it. But I do recall that 2019 game against Notre Dame, and my son and I we were watching it, and yeah, that was a big time game. You know.
Oh yeah, no. Funny side story before I go to the next question. Uh, I went to a Braves game. I was determined to go to that game. I knew it was
Hmm.
going to be expensive, but I then realized that I had birthday present that was tickets to a
Mm.
Braves game on that same night in Atlanta. So I was sitting there. I didn't even watch the Braves game. I was more focused on in the outfield. They had the score for the Georgia Notre Dame game, so I was more focused on that than the game. So, and I just knew it was going to be a good one. Obviously it was a top
Yeah.
10 matchup. It was just going to be good. Um, so watching when I got back home and I was able to watch it, obviously it was something I wish I would have. It made me regret not going to Sanford that night. It really did.
Yeah.
But
Had you would have known.
oh man, but but number two. All right, we'll go to number two.
Okay.
Which gets you more hyped up? LSU when they do neck, or Krypton fanfare before the game from Georgia?
Okay. So I didn't realize. I may have heard George's song,
Hmm.
but I didn't know what it was. But I can say the neck, at least on TV, it seems like it gets you going. You
Oh
know.
yeah. Now, knowing some people in Louisiana, you mentioned that, and they just go ballistic. Like Georgia with Krypton, that's just our thing, right? We
Yeah.
love it, but my goodness, it is something different when you hear neck.
Oh yeah. They actually love it. You know. I think I've only been to like one LSU game, and I'm not quite sure if it was less competition. I'm not sure if they played it or not. You know.
Yeah, it's. I know typically you hear that in huge games, like or
Yeah.
rival
Yeah.
games.
Yeah.
So,
Exactly. Right.
but no. So number three, obviously Sedrick had five official visits.
Mhm.
In order, going down from three to one, or either way you want to do it. What were your top three visits? Which campuses stood out the most to you?
Um, Georgia's number one. Alabama was two. Texas A&M number three.
Okay, interesting to hear that.
Yep.
College Station. So number four, what is your favorite song that has an association with a university? And I'll give you an example. The easiest one is probably "Sweet Home Alabama" to the University of Alabama. What is your favorite, I guess, song that has a represent or a tie to a school?
So it would either be Sweet Home Alabama, who's that? Ray Charles, Georgia.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep, one of
Yeah. There.
those.
I know. I've been a fan of. I don't understand why. It's just something about it. I typically listen to hip hop and rock, but
Yeah.
John Denver's "Take Me Home, Country Roads" for me it just hits different,
Oh yeah.
and it's one of those things you don't even realize you'll be catching up and you'll start singing the song, and then you're just going with it, and you're like, oh, this is what's happening. So that's my favorite.
Yeah.
Enter Sandman with Virginia Tech being a close second.
Okay.
And last but not least, what is your favorite college entrance? And another example of that is like Clemson, uh, rubbing the rock and then running down the hill. That's just an example of one of the college entrances. What's your favorite?
I like what they do at UGA. I like they're coming out of the tunnel. I like how
Hmm.
they all unite and stuff like that and run out, especially when they wear the black. Oh man, that looks
Yeah.
awesome. You know.
Oh yeah. Not as a Georgia fan, man. I love watching it. I love
Yeah.
watching it. But if I'm really taking my Georgia hat off, I look up in Blacksburg and the Enter Sandman going off,
Yeah.
uh, going up there. It is something to see when you've got that entire stadium, just jumping and literally the ground shakes every time. Just watching it on TV, right? Obviously, I'm not going to go to Blacksburg to watch a game,
Right.
but you watch that on TV and it is just a spectacle. Now, I'm not saying that I don't like Krypton and Georgia's entrance by all means. I love it too,
Yeah.
but there's just something about the entrance up there in Blacksburg.
I'm gonna have to pay attention to that this season because I never saw it.
Yeah, I think for me, being in North Carolina, what really stood out for me was, back when I was watching it, they were really a powerhouse, right? Virginia
Yeah.
Tech used to be a true powerhouse, And when you watch the games when they were playing at home, and it was huge, important games, and they were top 5 and top 10, that's where it really stood out.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying that it won't be doing it still, but when they were the true powerhouse that they were, that was when it was at its best.
I can imagine, yeah.
Well, I mean, hey, you took 5 questions. You handled fifth quarter very well. So I have to give you props on that, especially it being the first time. So anyways, Sedrick, it was great to have you on the show. Great talking to you. It was always a pleasure doing that.
Thank you.
Tell people, obviously we met up on social media. I'll let you give a shout out for your social media if people want to reach out to you or, kind of follow you. Take it away.
I'm on Twitter and Facebook, Sedrick Granger.
There you go.
Yes, sir.
There you go. All right, guys. That is it. That's all we've got for today's episode. Stick around. I hope everybody has a great day. Sedrick, again, have a great day. Hope everybody has a good weekend. And on that note, go Dogs, baby.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Not a problem.